Rather than lie. We thank you for this discipleship class. And as we open into your word today, we pray for revelation. We ask for illumination. We pray for the right information. Help us to make application of this new creation. We vow to give you the praise and glory as God's people said, amen. All right. You know, last week, I promised that I'm going to share something with you. I promised that I'm going to share something with you, but I didn't get to it. I promised, and I'll tell you how this came about. I think I told you. I'm going to talk to you about appreciation and honor. Appreciation and honor. And it came out of my encounter with my dad. This was just a little over a week ago. It came. I went to visit him, and it was one of those occasions I felt the Holy Spirit led me to begin to record him. And it was one of the deepest conversations I've had with my dad in a very long time. It was so moving, so touching. I almost had tears on my eyes. And I promised myself that what I have learned today will not just be for me, but for my children and anybody around me. Because somebody always says this, in life, you don't have to learn from your own life. You can learn from other people's mistakes. You can learn from other people's experiences. And what I want to share with you today is very, very important. I'm going to talk to you on the power of appreciation and honor. The power of what? Appreciation and honor. So let's start by looking at appreciation. What is appreciation? What is appreciation? It is a feeling or expression of admiration or approval or gratitude. Let me repeat that. Appreciation is a feeling or expression of admiration, approval, or gratitude. So when somebody appreciates, there is an expression, there is a feeling of admiration, there is a feeling of approval, there is a feeling of gratitude. Are you with me? When you appreciate something or somebody, you acknowledge it. You can't just allow things to go by. You acknowledge it. You stop by. Your wife has just made you a good meal. Appreciation means you stop and acknowledge it. You just don't eat it. It means you are full of gratitude. You know, when you show gratitude, you don't take things for granted. It's also a show of recognition. That's why if you go to many offices, many institutions, you know what they do? You enter into the building. Sometimes you will see the best worker of the month, the best worker of the year. They do it a lot abroad. You know why? What they are simply saying is that your effort, your contribution to this work, to this organization is recognized. And it does a lot of things. Number one, it inspires other people. And it gladdens the person. It makes the person to want to do better. Are you following me at all? Come on, are you following me at all? So you recognize. It's also a show of thanks. Thank you for what you are doing. Waking up every day, coming to serve in the house of God. You know, going out of your way to care for us. You know, there are many husbands and fathers today who die early because nobody ever showed them appreciation. They die. Because rather than say thank you, anytime he does something little, you don't know what is taking him. Rather than speak something positive, it's always negative. Is this what your mates do? Is this where your mates live? And that alone can kill particularly men. It affects women too. So it's a show of thanksgiving. And it is a show of gratefulness. Gratefulness. Okay? You know, when you study the Bible in 2 Timothy chapter 3, 2 Timothy chapter 3, you see that chapter is the chapter that deals with eschatology. Eschatology is the study of the end times. And in this chapter, you find Paul, the apostle, He was writing to his son, his protege, his son in the faith. And he began to say that, you see, in the last days, just before Jesus comes, there will be a kind of character. There will be some characteristics that will be very visible in those days, particularly today. And he mentions, he said people will be unholy. First of all, he said, in the last days, perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of themselves. There are 4 kinds of loves he mentions there. Lovers of themselves, lovers of money, or being covetous. Are you with me? Lovers of themselves, lovers of money, lovers of pleasures. Pleasure, plural. They will prefer to watch football. They will prefer to be on social media. Then he talked about lovers of God. 4 things. 3 of them are negative. Only 1 is positive. But he didn't stop there. He says they will be unholy, they will be unthankful, or ungrateful. So it is one of the spirits in this end time which we need to address. We need to fight it. You don't want the spirit of this world to come upon you. Are you with me at all? When people do things for you, you need to stop. Let me tell you something I learned from my wife. I learned this from my wife. You know, while we were growing up, I don't know about you, but parents, if my mother gives me the smallest things, if you don't say thank you, she'll take it off you. Are you with me? My mother would take that thing from me. Sometimes when we were a lot young, she will pull your ears. She will pull your ears because she wants you to learn a lesson. Are you following me at all? Then my wife taught me something. I learned this. This one is from my wife. She said, in their home, when you do something for anybody, I want you to pay attention. Fathers, pay attention. Mothers, pay attention. Young women, pay attention. What I'm sharing with you now, I learned from my wife. And there are things in life, you don't know everything. How many of you know we don't know everything? You have to learn from other people. My wife, if you do something for my wife, if you express benevolence to my wife will say thank you twice. Minimum twice. He said that is the way she was raised. So if I do something for my wife now, you can be sure, as little as it is, my wife will greet you. She will blow it up. Ah, my husband, you've done this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He will repeat it. Oh, I appreciate it. It may be something small, something insignificant. Let me now tell you the one that blows me the most. The next morning when she wakes up, the first thing she will come to you and say thank you again. Let me tell you something. The reason why relationships go sour, one of the reasons why relationships go sour is because people are ungrateful. I told you I'm sharing this thing because of my experience with my dad. And I don't want people to go through that kind of experience. I'll tell you that later on, the background, my dad's background, you know. Is anybody getting blessed already? Are you getting blessed? Let me tell you, sometimes God intends that you go up in life, but you may never reach there because you are an ungrateful person. Nobody wants to hang around an ungrateful person. An ungrateful person, if you cut your neck, they won't say thank you to you. Until you die like this. You are doing things. Sometimes children are ungrateful. Are you with me? Do you know one of the spirits of this age? Yeah? Entitlement. Come on, somebody say entitlement. Let me tell you something. One of the spirits of this age is the spirit of entitlement. Okay, mom has been buying things for us. She's been providing food. Dad is working flatter and so on. Is that not his work? Is that not his work? Did I tell him to give back to me? How can you be that callous? Somebody provides accommodation for you. Somebody is feeding you. Yeah? And you don't express thanksgiving. I'm not talking about, I just said it. That your dad knows you are grateful for what he has done. Listen, I never went to a private school. Never. Not one day. And I envied people who went to private school. I never went. You know, we never went on holidays. The only place we went on holiday was my father's village. So, barely comfortable. Are you with me? But, in fact, I must be honest with you. There were times we used to grumble. At least I used to grumble. You know, until I got married and I began to raise children. Then I began to salute my father. I began to salute. Listen, you that you are quick to abuse your parents, yeah? Yeah? You don't have children yet. Just keep quiet. Keep quiet, oh. Keep quiet. Because let me tell you, from the time you begin to give birth, this is just free for you. When you begin to raise children until your mid-years, yeah, your finances climb like this. That's the way it climbs. When you begin to reach 50, 55, that's when it drops. Young people, listen to me. You just married, you start raising up children. Let me tell you now, this is why when people begin to raise children, yeah, particularly responsible parents, they are not always spending, because they have to think about clothes, they have to think about school, they have to think about, Brother Victor, am I right? You know what I'm talking about, because you have a wife, you have a daughter to take care of. They can't wake up in the morning and you say, go and drink water. Yeah? Yeah, you can't say that. So my wife would tell me, she would come to me in the morning. She said, this thing you bought for me, thank you. I'm wondering, am I not supposed to buy it? So I learned it from her. If anybody brings something in my home, yeah, she would call them and say thank you. She would tell me immediately. She will ask me the second time, have you said thank you to that person? Don't take people for granted. Are you with me at all? Yeah? So, lack of appreciation and honor has deprived many people of more blessings in God's life. It has. You don't know. People who are not appreciative in life, yeah, they don't know what they miss. Because when you appreciate little things, yeah, you will have more. Have you heard this saying before? When you are thankful, your tank will be full. Did you hear what I said? When you are thankful, your tank will be full. Do you know, after I had this encounter with my dad, I now look back and I say, wow, how will God be feeling the way we treat him? How will God be feeling? Do you know we take God for granted? Do you know you wake up in the morning, you can carry your leg. Do you know that is what's stopping? You know, one of the things my dad told me just over a week ago, he said, Wale, when I wake up in the morning, I will prostrate in front of God. I said, my dad prostrating? He said, yeah. He said, I prostrate. He said, I will prostrate like he used to greet his dad when he was young. He said, I will prostrate and say, Baba, you've woken me up this morning again. Thank you. How do you think God will feel for somebody to say, you've woken me up? He has learned that lesson because the person closest to him in life, that they have done life together for almost 6.5 decades, 66, almost 66 years, suddenly vanished from the house. So he looks around. This person is. So when I wake up in the morning, God has done me a great favor that I'm able to carry my leg. God has done me a favor. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you reason why you have to be thankful. This time last week, remember on Thursday last week, I was with my dad. We were talking. He was just talking about my mom. Listen to this. Why you must be thankful and you must not take things for granted. Watch this. My dad wakes up around 4, 5. He listens to some men of God. He told me. He said, Wale, when I wake up, I listen. He said, there's a guy in Ibadan. I love him. And I listen to that guy too. He said, I really love him. So he wakes up. Last week, he said, when I woke up around 5, I was listening to this man of God. He said, suddenly, I just noticed I couldn't move my hand again. I wanted to carry my leg. I couldn't move it. And he couldn't talk. Listen to this. I'm saying this so that you'll appreciate God. Unfortunately for him, that night, the only person with him in the house is like 8-year-old. If this is my father's room here, the only person in the house, the room is down there. So my dad was shouting the guy's name for 2 hours. 2 hours. The guy did not hear him. My father always says something, and my mom when we were growing. He said, anything that happens to you, God always leaves a space for thanksgiving. Do you know what? My younger brother's wife, she was about to enter into the bathroom in their home. And something said to her, call granddad. It doesn't happen. I'm talking about very early in the morning. She's going to have a bath to go to church. Let me call granddad. Picks up the phone. The phone rings. Don't forget, everybody look up. He couldn't pick up anything with his hand. Can't. As God was going to have it, the phone was next to him. If the phone was on the floor, nothing. So his second hand picked it up. So he was able to press it. And my sister-in-law called. And he could not talk. They were just saying, I was shouting, Granddad, are you there? Did somebody come into the house? But nobody slept with you. Granddad. That went on for several minutes. Watch this. So he just ran into the room and said, hey, Shegu, I'm trying to call Dad. I can't understand what's happening. They jumped in the car and they started driving. They drove for maybe 30 minutes getting there. Don't forget this time, the house is locked with gate. My brother jumped the gate and they ran and they saw him lying on his bed and carried him to the hospital. My dad looks at me and says, Wale, he's sitting up. I said, Wale, I should have died on the bed. Look at me. Have you thanked him this morning that you were able to get out of your bed? Did I say, Daddy, good morning, sir? Thank you. I know you don't have all the needs. I don't have all my needs. Did you thank him that you could carry your leg? Because some people woke up this morning, they can't carry their leg. Some people woke up, they couldn't talk. So God wakes us up and we all do this and we just jump up. The next thing is, hello? Or you're on social media and God says, what an ingrate. So if you woke up with a problem, you say, God, where are you? And this has happened all your life. You've been waking up every morning. And yet you never stop and say, thank you to God. It says in the last days, men shall be ungrateful. That's the days in which we are living. Two Sundays ago, I went to preach in a Redeemed church, not far from here. I went to preach. So many things. Excitement. They were doing appreciation for the pastor. Let me tell you what got me thinking the most out of all the service. They brought some blind children. I think it must have come from Kubwa. Blind. Totally blind. There were about 20 of them. And they began to sing. They were singing and they were laughing. They were dancing. I don't know when I dropped on my knees. I dropped on my knees and I was asking God for forgiveness. I said, God, this could have been me. Can you imagine being born blind? I'm talking to those of you, yeah? You were born with your two eyes, with your 2 feet. You walk past those guys on the street, they've never walked with their legs. I had to fall on my, I said, God, I'm sorry for being an ingrate. The pastor that they were appreciating, he fell flat. He also was, God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Lord, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. These children cannot see and they are dancing. What about you that you can see? During praise and worship, you are looking around like you came to inspect people in church. We stand like a statue of liberty. And yet we don't express appreciation. Somebody in front has to cajole you, has to move you before you move your leg. You say you are too big. Don't you know that David understood what God did for him? That was how he danced. And somebody was ridiculing him. He said, you know why I'm dancing? I knew where God put me up. Look at where we are now. Look at where we are. Look at where you used to be. I was born in a village. I was born in a village. There's no light. I'm where I am today not because of my education or contact. God showed me mercy. He showed me mercy. There are many of my mates that die in the country. He's given me privileges all around the world. Why should I not wake up and thank him? First Thessalonians 5:16 to 18. Particularly the 18. It says, in all things give thanks. Not in something, in all things. That you have a father that cares for you, give thanks. That you have a husband that cares for you, please give thanks. That you have a mother that has not abandoned you, give thanks. That you have a good health, give thanks. That God put you in a church where they love you, give thanks. You can never satisfy an ingrate. Listen to me, young people. One of the things you should look out for when you want to marry, run away from people who don't know how to say thank you. Obviously, you know, young people, they don't know anything. Most young people can't see. You know, how many of you know that is when you are getting older, you begin to see some of these traits. People who cannot say thank you for giving them, you give them 500 naira. If you buy them a whole house, yeah, they will not be satisfied until you die. You remember the story of the 10 lepers? They shouted to the Lord, have mercy on us. He said, go show yourself to the priest. And as they went, they found themselves healed. But only one came back. Only one. He says, were there not 10 of you that were healed? And only this stranger came back. The percentage has not changed up to today. Out of 10, only one will come back to God. And you know what? They were all healed, but they were not all made whole. Only one of them were made whole. This Samaritan came back. Do you go back? Listen, we're going to the end of the year. Are we planning to say thank you to God? Do you know, I was thinking as I was passing through my house this morning, I like a lot about these traditional churches, Anglican. You know, they have harvest of thanksgiving, all those things, where people will come and they will dance. They will give God thanks. We Pentecostals sometimes, we overlook those things. That God sees you to the end of the year. We should set apart time to give thanks to God. Isn't it, Pastor? We should stop. And people must know He sees us. That is why at the beginning of the year, let me say this, the first Sunday of the new year should be a service of thanksgiving. Because many people die. They abduct people. God protected you. That your whole family sees a new year. You should show appreciation to God. How many of you are getting blessed? Psalm 103, 1-4. David expresses appreciation for all the benefits that he enjoyed from God. He says, bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not his benefit. It is easy to forget the benefit because our mind is short. It is easy. Paul and Silas, remember, they beat them. They were in prison. Acts 16. Can you imagine for going to prison? They beat them. They caned them. At midnight, they began to sing praises and hymns in appreciation to God. Listen, there are many relationships that has been destroyed today, not because God wanted it to be destroyed, but because people don't know how to appreciate. You don't know how to appreciate. You take things for granted. You take your wife for granted. You take your husband for granted. You take your mother for granted. Are you with me at all? Let me tell you, you must have gotten from what I'm saying this morning, there are two kinds of people you must appreciate. Two levels of people. Two types of people you must always show appreciation to in life. Number one is God. Please, don't let your thanks, don't overlook your thanks. There's a guy in the Bible, that God healed, a king in the Bible. I don't think I've ever shared that with you before. Hezekiah. You remember that king that God healed and gave him 15 more years? There's a scripture there that actually says that he did not return back thanks as he should. In other words, his thanksgiving was deficient. Let me tell you what it means. If God has done 100 things for you and you only say thanks for 5, you are deficient. That was what happened to him. And God underlined this. People who take things for granted. Don't be part of people that will take God for granted. For the air. Do you know the day you will begin to appreciate God? When you see people on oxygen and they are paying for it. Do you know we don't think about it? When you see somebody on oxygen and you have to come and pay for oxygen, you say, what? This thing I'm taking free. And now they ask me to come and pay and you don't even have the money to pay. Then you will now know that God has been so good to me. I wake up every day and breathing. Is that not what giving thanks to God for? Please don't take God for granted. Number 2, human beings. You must appreciate. Learn to appreciate people. Appreciate all men. Favors that you enjoy. Appreciate. Don't let your mother's birthday go like any other day. And your father. Don't let it go. Don't let it go. Stop by and do something for them. Take them out. Buy something. You say they are living far. Send something to them. You will not be who you are today without your parents. And if you don't have one, there are people that God has put in a position of parents for you. They are acting like your parent. They don't have to help you. They don't owe anybody anything. Is anybody with me? Then look out for people, special people. Let me tell you, in the life of everybody, there are strategic people that God puts in our life. They are strategic people. And you will not be where you are without those people. People that have showed you repeated favors. You must stop and appreciate them and celebrate them. Show gratitude. I am grateful. I'm grateful. There's a Yoruba adage says that anybody that you have blessed, you have honored, you showed benevolence to, who does not reciprocate, is like you go outside and you meet an armed robber who steals from you. Something you have labored for. An armed robber just take it away from you. It's the same people who don't show gratitude. They don't show thanksgiving. People like your wife, your husband. Don't wait for their bad days. Are you with me at all? Don't wait for their bad days. Let them know specially. Before I close, let me tell you, I said something to you that this was what prompted me to share this message. Just a little bit over a week ago, I said to you, I was in Lagos. I went to see my dad. I was ministering somewhere. I didn't have to go and see him. But I said, I go out of my way. I have to go and see him. So I sat down with him. And it's my culture. For years, when I go and see him and my mom in those days, I'll take pictures. I record them. I take money to them. I buy clothes. I look for what they need. I'll go and take it. And anytime I'm leaving, usually the most emotional part, because he's always saying, oh, could this be the last time I'm going to see this person? You want to cry. So I go on my knees and I tell mom and dad, I say, come and lay hands on me. They pray for me and they bless me. They really do. They bless me. I miss my mom, but I got a lot of blessing from that woman. She laid hands on me. She prayed her heart. When my mother did landmark birthday, I would shop from London. Shop. Nice, expensive lace. I'll bring it. Get the tailor. I said, Mom, let them sew it for you. I buy slippers, all manner. From secondary school, I was buying underwears for my mother. 25 years ago, I was the first person I bought my father a car. Because I have seen particularly people from Africa. The day you start appreciating people is when they are in their coffin. It's an error. It's an error. I told you how I regretted so much that my mom died. So, let me end. My father looked at me and said, Wale, he said, I wish your mother can rise up. This is a man over 90. He said, I wish. I looked at his eyes. It was very teary. I said, Dad, what do you mean? He said, Wale, if there is one thing I regret that I would have loved to correct, I didn't tell her enough that I loved her. He said, I wish I was telling her every day, Mommy, I love you. Mommy, I love you. Mommy, I love you. He says the day it hits him is the day they told him, Mommy is gone. Do you know the funny thing? You will never appreciate people, particularly people who are your benefactors, until the day they leave you. My house is not the same. Listen. Those of you who have mothers who are sweating for you, you better appreciate them now. Because the day they leave, particularly mothers, when a true mother leaves, a matra, that house is finished. My father said, Wale, when I'm sick, when your mother shows up, I said, Daddy, am I worried? He said it's like your mother is she's like a medical doctor. He's like, he knows everything. He said, you just said, Daddy, am I worried? Yeah, I'll come and massage you. I'll give you. You'll be okay. He said, exactly the way my mother said, it will happen. He now feels exposed. He says, it doesn't matter whoever is in the house. The house is not the same for him. It's not the same. So the man is thinking. He's thinking. He can't even enter the room. And he's going to live with a regret for the rest of his life. Because when somebody is dead, is there. All this one, you see the coffin. Mom, I love you. Please stop it. You are trying to wipe emotion. When she lives with you in the same house, the problem we have is that we think they are always going to be there for us. Particularly those of us who are from Africa. Many of us don't express. We are not expressive. May I hug my children? Oh yeah, either girl or boy, I hug them. And I tell them I love them. Yeah. In fact, in those days, if I want to drop, if I don't say, Dad, you have not said you love me. Why? What's wrong? Is everything okay? Oh, I'm sorry. I love you. My wife, she's addicted about love. And I like that. If she doesn't tell me when I want to drop, she loves me, there's trouble. It's instinct. It's just there. It's natural. So I'm listening. I'm watching. This person loves me. Let me tell you, when people love you, you will know. Oh yeah. And when people tolerate you, you will know. Some people don't love you. They're just eating from you. They don't love you. Some children don't love their mother. Then they now die. You now buy one big coffin. And now say you want to wear agbada. What a wicked generation. What a wicked generation. You are buying all those things to impress the living, not the dead. Of what benefit is a party? They will now take an event center and the mother's bed inside. You have not changed it. Our world is wicked. The bed is stinking. You have not changed the bed in 10 years. You don't send your mother for massage or your dad. You don't send them for massage. I don't have money. Then you meet up with a girl outside. You'll be spending money for him. So you don't have money. Why don't you save that money? Why don't you deny yourself when your mother, your father deny themselves? Stop and start doing it from today. Because a day will come. Listen, my mother died at 88. I'm still crying. I'm talking about 88. Not 40, not 50. 88. And it's not that we never took care of her. She went to America, stayed there. We sent her to London. She was with me for 1 year. Stayed in my house for 1 year in London. Sent her to the Holy Land. Went. Everything was paid for. Medical, they didn't pay for it. All the bills in their house. My brother got a masseuse that was massaging them in the last 25 years on salary. My brother looked at me the other day and said, Wale, after mom died, I learned a lesson. I became very intentional with daddy. Everything he needs, I give it to him. And I take him out for about 2 hours every week. So we just plan to take him to a Koi club. The Koi club is for the elite. So I just make him enjoy life. So Wale, if it comes tomorrow, I'm not going to regret it. Because I've done whatever I need to do. My question is, people who are your benefactors, if they die today, will you regret it? Start showing appreciation. Stop. Buy things in the market and give it to them. Take them out. I used to take my parents out to restaurant. Best of restaurant, Victoria Island. Sometimes Sule, Mom, Dad, let's go. Eat whatever you want to eat. Eat, just eat. Eat. Let them feel special. But now she's gone. We put her down. But I promised myself it won't happen again. I would learn to say thank you to people that matter in my life. So I love World Harvest family. I love it. You know one of the things I'm going to start doing? Yeah. I'm going to tell you guys every week how much I love you. Yeah. You know, don't get into this black thing that doesn't say I love you. Get it off your brain. Learn to be expressive. Learn. Did you hear what I said? So I love World Harvest. You know what you say? I love my pastor. Did you get that? I love World Harvest. You have to. Don't let me divert. I love it. No, I will wake up and fight you. I told my children, I said, oh, Omo, if you don't give me money now, if I die, if you start saying, I will wake up and slap you. I'll give you a dirty slap. Get on the keyboard, please, Joel. We just have about 1 or 2 minutes. Stand. That songwriter says, count your blessings, name them one by one. It will surprise you what the Lord has done. Lift up your hand this morning as a sign of thanksgiving. Open your mouth and just be thanking him. Say, God, I'm grateful, grateful, grateful. I'm grateful for the air that I breathe. I'm grateful for the leg that I can carry. Is anybody here? Is anybody here? Are you thankful for the air you breathe? Are you thankful for your wife? Are you thankful for your husband? Are you thankful for the mother God gave to you? Are you thankful that you are able to give back? Are you thankful for the job? Are you thankful for the many things God has put around you? I know it could be better. I know it could be better, but God has been good. Oh, hallelujah. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Oh, count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you one day. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings. See what God has done. See what God has done. Oh, count your blessings, name them one by one. Oh, and it will surprise you one day. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one. Oh, and it will surprise you. Come on. Your blessing. Come on, clap your hand, everybody. Clap your hand. Clap your hand. Your blessing. See what God has done. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. Oh, and it will surprise you. What the Lord? Clap your hand. Oh, I can what God has done. Count your blessing, name them one by one, and it will surprise you. What the Lord, clap your hands, come on. Oh, I count my blessing, name them one by one. Count my blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you. Lift up your hand and thank him. Come on, thank him for 1 minute. Thank him for the benefit. Thank him. Open your mouth and say thank you to him. Thank him, thank him, thank him, thank him. Thank him for your health. Thank him for your family. Thank him for your wife. Let God hear your voice. Thank him for good health. Thank him for your children. Thank him for your father. Thank him for your mother. Give him praise for joy unspeakable, full of glory, for the mercies he has shown you. Come on, give him praise. Hey! Name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count my blessings, name them one by one. Oh, I count my blessing, see what God has done. Count my blessing, name them one by one, and it will surprise you. God bless you. Let's sit down. God bless you.